you guys, and welcome to another episode of Mommy Needs a Break. It is a podcast for new moms who don't have it all together because, you know, me and Marisa, we ain't got it together. I'm Megan Thomas at Meg Scoop everywhere.
And I'm Marisa Johnson, and she is Marisa J. Make sure to follow us on all platforms at MNED Podcasts. Follow our website, www. Why do I say www?
I don't know, Marisa. It's not 1998.
.com. Join our Patreon for $3. You will get all of our great exclusive content. Be the first to know about some giveaways that we have coming up and all sorts of great things. So make sure to check out our Patreon.
Yes, and we're talking about a lot of stuff today, but you see this beautiful guest we have. She is a wife. She's a mom to a fur baby. She's the owner of Destinations Physical Therapy, and she's a doctor of physical therapy specializing in women's and men's pelvic health. Give it up for the one and only Dr. April Morrison. Woo! Wait, did I get everything right, Dr. April? Because, you know, I really just researched all this.
Yeah, you did a great job. That's awesome.
Megan's the best. Megan is the introduction queen, okay?
I think it's just because I'm nosy and I like to research because I'm nosy. That's really what it is, Dr. April.
That's good.
Well, thank you for being with us. You know, Marisa and I have 1,000 questions for you because I don't think either one of us knew about a women's physical therapist, for your pelvis. You know what I mean? And we need this. So we're going to get into all of that and why it's important. We're going to talk about peezing. If you don't know what that is, pee and sneeze put together.
Oh my God.
We're going to talk about all of this. But first, what do we have, Marisa?
Yeah, before we get into all that great peeing information, this is our segment called Ain't No Shame. It is our mommy confession moments where we kind of just, don't judge each other by our shameful parenting habits.
Yeah.
Megan, what do you have today?
Okay, so you guys, you know how Maverick just turned 2 a couple weeks ago? And I had always said, when he gets 2, I'll send him to school. He'll, he's been home, especially with the pandemic. I didn't want to send him anywhere. But with the pandemic and being at home with a toddler and working full time, it has been quite trying. So when he hit 2, I had done some research for some daycares that I felt were good with the distancing, with the cleaning and everything, weren't filled to capacity. And actually I found one. So he started school this week. So ain't no shame in sending a child to daycare during the pandemic. Okay. Because I had some shame with that. Cause I was I don't want to send them. There's a pandemic, but truth be told, I think we already had COVID in this house at the very beginning. So his immune system's pretty good. I send him with his little elderberry gummies, every day. So, and prayer. So I'm just hoping he's okay. But he loves it. He, the first day when I dropped him off, he, in my head, I was prepared for this big scene. He was going to cry and scream, "Mommy!" Because he's never been left anywhere without us. So I was he's going to cry. Okay, prep yourself, Megan. We walked into that classroom. I'm talking about he jumped out of my arms, was "Toys!" And then started walking towards the kids and was just staring at them "Hi, person my size." And he started reaching his hands out to this little girl and was just in front of her face. He just stopped like this. I was what is he doing? I said, "Oh, you did need to go to school. You are not socialized. You have no idea how to interact with people." He just went it was do I give her a hug? Do I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So he just did this. So yes, I do. I'm very glad we made the choice to send him to school, and they're very they shorten their hours. So it's not he's there, regular daycare hours. And I take him in late. So he's really not there all day. But it has been, I will tell you, these last, 3-4 days that I have sent him, y'all, I feel amazing. But I also have had double the amount of work just because of how my job is. And it was very needed. Very needed. I have, my wine intake has slowed down. I will say that.
I'm getting close to that point. I know it's getting time because having kids at home and trying to, start work, do your business, whatever, is really hard. So
I know. And now I got to deal with my fur babies. I got 2 of those.
Wait, you guys, what is a fur baby? I don't.
Are you serious, Marisa?
When I read that, I was fur baby. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know.
Marisa, we're gonna put this on another list of things you don't know.
I don't own animals. I don't know. We already talked about this.
Dr. April, what kind of dog do you have?
Murphy is a golden doodle. He is 3 years old, and he's just adorable. He's the best. He's a big snuggle bunny. He thinks he's, this tiny little dog, but he likes to jump on our laps. He's about 62 pounds of love. Ooh. So yeah.
Oh gosh. How old is he?
3 years old. Yeah.
Okay. So he's
just
out
over
of the puppy
3
stage. Okay.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't know that yet, though. He thinks he's still a puppy. He's in the toddler stage now, if that gives you any idea.
So we're dealing with the same issue, basically.
Right.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Except I can put my dog in a crate and leave him where you guys they frown on that, I believe.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah. We just don't tell people about it.
Yeah. Ain't no shame there.
Ain't no shame. All right. Let's scroll, you guys. Okay. This is a section of our show where we talk about what's on our timeline. When we get away from people trying to go to the back, we'll go to the bathroom to take a break, but we really are scrolling on our phones. Well, this is what I found on my timeline today. There's a study that says severe morning sickness is linked to depression. It just came out. Now, this is a study done out in the UK, but it says basically that, for women who have had severe morning sickness, not the average kind, but the kind that's you have to get hospitalized for it. You're bedbound, suffer from dehydration and weight loss. It's just that bad of morning sickness, also known as hyperemesis gravidarum, which I don't know if that's right, but
it's right. You did good. That was awesome.
Thanks. And so for women who have that, they found that nearly half of those women, hold on, let me make sure I get this right. Nearly half of women with HG suffered prenatal depression, and nearly 30% had postnatal depression. Now, for women without the condition, meaning you don't really have morning sickness or you just have it a little bit, but not, for the whole extended period, only 6% experience prenatal depression and 7% postnatal depression. So basically, women are 8 times more likely to suffer from depression if you have severe morning sickness, which is good to know in a way, because I think sometimes if you have severe morning sickness, you can say, okay, there's a higher chance. I'm 8 times more likely to have postpartum depression, which is important. You know what I mean? Because that affects all parts of your body. I'm sure, Dr. April, you've seen what stress can do to the body, and
Absolutely.
how you have to do physical therapy to kind of get that out of your system, right?
Right, for sure. And, it's super important with moms who are pregnant and during that time and they're dealing with, during pregnancy, a lot of it is if they're having this hyperemesis or, feeling sick all the time, that isn't the picture they had in their mind of what their pregnancy was going to be like. And so it's kind of a morning time, a morning with morning sickness, right? And so they're mourning what they expected or what they thought it was going to be like. And that morning sickness often kind of takes away from that. So that makes sense that they would have a higher rate of depression.
Yeah. And, but in this instance, I was trying to link this to myself. I had postpartum depression, but I didn't have severe morning sickness. So I guess I'm in that percentage of the 7% who had it, who had postpartum depression without having the morning sickness. Marisa, did you have any morning sickness?
I had it all. Yeah. I think when I listened to it, I was like, oh, wow. With the second child, I was sick the entire pregnancy. And I felt like it was maybe one of the darkest times, I felt like, because my first child, I was out, I was doing yoga. It was just peaceful. I was sick, but I wasn't mentally, feeling down. But for the second one, it was just nonstop sickness, which I would just go to bed. I would just go to sleep. And then right after I had her, we fell into COVID. So I felt like it was just double the mental war in my head of how did I just have this child? Now I'm stuck in the house. I was already stuck in the house because I couldn't move and I was sick. And now I'm stuck in the house and she's here because there's a virus in the world. And then the anxiety of that. And it was just, I feel like I'm just now coming out the fog of okay, she's almost 1. Let me get it together.
Yeah. No, you're better. It took me almost it's like 18 months. It was a while for me. And I wish I had known about all of well, I wish I would have it's like I knew I had postpartum depression, but I was like, well, I'll just be all right. I wish I had done more for myself. Even seeing a physical therapist,
Yeah.
Dr. April, because I had a doula and she told me about it, while I was pregnant. She was like, if you have certain issues, she was like, you need to go see a woman's physical therapist. And I was like, what? Like a female
Right.
one? Like she was like, no, like one that specializes in like pelvic health. I was like, what? So I
Right.
think that would have helped just as well, just to get my body back
Yeah.
feeling
I
right, because mental and physical are intertwined.
I think with my first baby, I experienced like my hips almost felt like they went out. Like I couldn't. I
Yeah.
worked too hard, too fast, basically, and I had
Mhm.
to go to Pilates, and she had to really work with me to just get my hips moving again the way I
Mhm.
recognized them before. So that helped a lot for my first child. It was Pilates to just feel somewhat normal again with my body.
Dr. April, let me ask you, what for women who are pregnant, like while they're pregnant, what are some of the things that you have them do when they come to see you? Or what are some of the things they suffer from? And then what are some of the things that you do to fix that?
Yeah, if you think of just the changes that women's bodies go through during pregnancy, their center of gravity changes as the baby
Mhm.
gets bigger, and so then you think about the low back pain. You guys may have experienced some back pain as your
Whew.
body adjusts to carrying a larger abdomen, right?
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
muscles kind of separate. So just those sort of things. Sometimes we just have to help with support of that, the belly as it grows, especially for women who have multiples, to be able to support the weight of the baby. A lot of women have sciatic pain or, stuff that runs down their legs. Yeah. And
Mm.
so we help with that. We can help with stretches and kind of strengthening. Everybody is different. Everybody kind of comes in with a different story. And so finding out what those issues are. Foot pain is another big one.
Yeah.
When ligaments, as you progress through your pregnancy, ligaments
Yeah.
become more lax, and so a lot of women have rolled ankles. Or I had one gal who slipped on the ice and did the splits, like
Oh my.
I know, at 36 weeks pregnant. So she tore a ton of her stuff. So helping women with the support that they need at that time, like maybe she needs to walk with a walker, or maybe she, something like that, which, you think a healthy 30 something year old woman shouldn't be using a walker, but sometimes just to be safe, you need to do that. So it really all depends on what women need.
See, that's good to know, because when I was pregnant, I did, because I was like, look, I'm just gonna put the money like to get everything done to help me get, because I wanted to have like a smooth pregnancy, a smooth delivery. And I know I've always had like some spinal issues, so I was going to the chiropractor like every week when I was pregnant. And then I also did like prenatal massages like at least once a month. But had I known about going to a physical therapist before like having the baby, I would have definitely done that as well, because I feel like there were some. I dealt with sciatica. And I guess where my baby was positioned too, he was on my spine. I didn't even have regular contractions. I had back labor. I
Back
had only
labor.
back
Oh,
contractions.
Hmm.
So had I known this and see what you guys could have done, I would
I
have
know.
done it
Now I
too.
tell you.
Yeah. But no, that's good to know, because we have a lot of new moms that watch and listen to the show, and it's like,
Mhm.
hey, there's another option out there, and it's a very good option. You know.
Yeah, and the other thing that we can do with pregnant moms is get them ready for their birth. And I've actually been honored to be in the room while a mom is delivering a child and birthing a child, so that I can help make sure that they can avoid C-sections, avoid tearing, avoid episiotomies, avoid having
mm.
to use forceps or all that stuff. So we can actually do physical therapy in the delivery room with the moms
Wow.
and
What?
help with that. So that's something a lot of moms don't know about either.
Wait, so what do you do while they're pushing, or like right before they push, or what?
Sure. throughout the whole time. I was on call for the one particular person, and I came in kind of near the end of her birth, but we were able to suggest different position changes to either widen her pelvis if she needed it. You help like gravity assist with the delivery, so some squatting or using a squat bar, birthing balls, suggesting the shower, that sort of thing. So there's a ton of things that can be done that people just don't realize. You need specific training to be able to do this, but it's really gratifying to do that work.
That's awesome. No, because we always talk about, oh, you can have a midwife or you can have a doula. I think I didn't know that a physical therapist could actually assist with that. And that is amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, let's talk about how you first of all, what is pelvic health? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't really know where my pelvis is. Outside of that skeleton they show you in like science class, like, here's your pelvis. I don't really like, where's my pelvis?
Right. Well, and it's so funny because you joke, but it's just a part of the body that is a mystery. Nobody talks about that part of your body. You can talk about your abs, you can talk about your legs, even your butt sometimes, but people forget all about the pelvis. And so it's right where the spine meets your legs. I have my handy dandy little model here. So this is your pelvis.
Are you showing us the front?
This is So this is the front as it's facing you.
Okay.
This is the back. Okay. That's the spine. Okay, and your tailbone.
Got it.
Right. Okay. So your pelvis has your hip bones, right? The people think of their hip bones, and then your femur kind of attaches in here. So there's more graphic parts to the to the anatomy that we don't necessarily need to get into, but this is the part that we work on. There's so many things. If you look at the red and the blue here, I don't know if you can see real well, but your bladder and your ovaries and your uterus, we'll just throw those away. We don't need those at the moment, but these are all tucked in there, right? And then if you look down from a bird's eye view into your pelvic floor, those yellow things that you see right there, those are nerves. So all your nerve attachments down to your sciatic nerve, that's right here, that you can see why if something is tight kind of internally here, that's going to cause some pain down into your legs and beyond, right? And then you've got all these blood vessels and everything. If you look at the back again, this blue part, those are ligaments. And so these ligaments, if they're tight or there's an issue with those, just like you'd have a tight bicep muscle, you have to lengthen those. You have to be able to have, strength, but also lengthening of those as well. And then if we want to get a little more into it, I'll break my pelvis in half here. And you can see kind of the muscles that make up the bowl. They call it a pelvic floor, but I like to think of it as a pelvic bowl. And so as the pelvic floor sits, it holds all your organs, not just your bladder and your uterus and your rectum, but it holds everything else kind of above it too. And so anytime there's tension in that area, it could cause dysfunction. So as your uterus grows and increases tension, that pelvic floor needs to be strong enough to support it and hold it. And without
is that where your Kegels are? When they say do Kegels, there's like that muscle?
People they're pretty much contracting all of their pelvic floor muscles at that point. And so generally speaking, women should be able to contract the back. So this is your bum hole, right? And this is your vaginal opening. People can contract the back and the front. And there's so many muscles in here that should be able to be working together in coordination to be able to contract your pelvic floor. And then they should also be able to lengthen and relax as well.
I'm doing it right now. I can feel my butt.
Okay, so wait, how do you know you're doing it right? Because
I get that question all the time, and I love that question. So the best explanation that I can give is let's say you're walking into an elevator and a very attractive person is in the elevator, and you close the door and it's just the two of you, and you realize, oh my gosh, I'm going to pass gas. So you clench everything to hold it in as much as you possibly can. So it's not necessarily your butt muscles moving, but it's like that feeling of sucking up or sucking in that you do. That's kind of the best explanation. But really, it's trying to stop the flow of urine while you're trying to pee. That's contracting.
That's contracting. Okay. I'm like, am I doing this right? It always just feels like my butt muscle. It doesn't feel like the front.
And a lot of times it is, especially for women who have birthed babies vaginally, a lot of times they're unable to contract the front of their pelvic floor, and they are really only doing the back. So you can test it the next time you pee. And so when you go to pee, as you started to urinate, stop in midstream and see if you can stop.
My friend
if you
told me
can,
that.
then you're doing it right.
Okay.
But then don't do it again like that, because you can cause UTIs and bigger issues. And
I know. I was going to ask that because I was like, my grandma told me don't ever, when you pee, just pee. Don't stop it.
Wait, Megan, we have the honey pot products to level out our pH if we do get it.
That's true.
That's right. Honey pot. I've heard good things about honey pot products.
Oh yeah, it's great.
So
it's
great. Okay. So let's talk about peeing when you sneeze, when you laugh. What causes this after giving birth, and like how can we fix it? Is it just Kegels?
Yeah. So that the peezing can happen regardless of if you have had a baby or not, right? You can still leak when you sneeze or cough or laugh. And that happens because of increased pressure in your abdominal cavity. And so if you haven't tightened those muscles that are around your sphincter, your urethral sphincter, then you're going to have an issue there. And so I don't know if you can see in this picture, but there's a bunch of muscles that kind of squeeze around. That's your urethral opening. And so there's a bunch of muscles that kind of squeeze around that area. You've got an internal one, and then you've got one a little bit further internal. Okay. And if they're not working correctly because they've been stretched, or it's just a muscle that you haven't practiced using, then you'll have to do Kegels or other types of activities to strengthen that. And I will caution you, though, there are people who do have pelvic floor issues that do Kegels when they shouldn't. And so like we talked about, you need to strengthen muscles, and that Kegel is kind of helping strengthen. Some people have issues where they need that lengthening and they can't relax their pelvic floor. So a lot of moms, especially moms, are one of the biggest offenders, as well as nurses and teachers. But you hold your pee for so long because you can't take a minute to go to the bathroom. So you have what we call a camel bladder, right? You get proud of like, oh, I can hold my pee for 7 hours and not have to pee. And it's actually doing yourself a disservice. It's building up all of that pressure, and it's not allowing the body to send that message to your bladder that it's time to urinate. And so if you've done that over years and years and years, your body doesn't know when it's supposed to do the actual function. And so then it will just leak on you because it doesn't know that it's supposed to be contracting. So that's another problem that you have to think about.
I can't even hold my pee anymore. It's like once I know I have to go, if I don't go, it's over.
Well, and so that's another indication that you probably should speak to a pelvic floor therapist, because you should be able to control that.
See, this episode, Marisa, really was about me trying to get you to see a women's physical therapist because we were talking about peezing. This is for you, Marisa.
Well, I mean, no, I'll talk about it now. I went to see my OB because I couldn't keep tampons in for some reason, and they would just fall out. My birth control would fall out. What else? I would just notice like a big bulge in certain times of the day, and I didn't know if it was stress. Like I couldn't connect it with anything, and so I went to see my OB, and she basically brought out the model like you did, brought up these charts. She gave me a mirror so that I can see for myself what she was doing, and she literally, this is the craziest thing, so TMI, but she literally put her finger up my butt and pushed up against my vagina, and I could see her finger literally like where the bulge,
in your vagina?
You can see it from your rectum. You could see her finger kind of come through your vagina. So that's where the bulge. So anytime I would like fill up, if I had to go to the bathroom or anything, it would bulge. It was trying to bulge through because it was so thin because of the babies. So that explained why I couldn't hold in the tampons. I thought that my birth control somehow went inside my entire body, but it really just fell out in the toilet. It was just all these things. And so she explained that I could do the Kegels, I can see a physical therapist, or severe route, I can get surgery. And so that was like the final option if you didn't plan on having any kids. So yeah, this is like really what I
Yes, Marisa, this is all for you, okay? Because after this, we're gonna fly you to Idaho to see Dr. April.
Well, and I think it's super important to realize that's called pelvic organ prolapse. And so one of the things where your posterior wall just isn't able to be strong enough because it's been stretched, and through no fault of your own, that's just what happened when you had your babies. And it happens, and it actually, for women, the cardinal sign is feeling like something is coming out, like a tampon is coming out. And it can be your rectum, it can be your uterus, it can be your bladder. There's so many different kinds of prolapse. It can be from the front, it can be from the back. There's just so much that happens there. But there's so much that we can do to help with that. It's not something you have to just live with.
Let me ask you about that, Dr. April. So anytime, like Marisa said, if you have some kind of issue there, do you do an internal exam to assess pelvic health, or do you just kind of because one of my best friends sees a women's physical therapist because she had the same issue as Marisa, but it was like way worse. And she said, she's like, it's kind of weird. You go there, it's almost like you're getting a pap smear because the physical therapist is like, all right, let me go in here and then like squeeze against my fingers or something like that. So like, do you have to do an internal exam, and what does that consist of?
Sure. You never have to do an internal exam. I always make sure my patients understand that you don't have to do that. Doing the internal exam does give us more information and generally helps us kind of come up with the diagnosis a little bit easier, but we can get to that point. It just might take a lot longer to get there. So an internal exam is something that shouldn't be scary. It's not like at the OBGYN's office, because we don't use any like speculums or anything like that. Typically just use your finger, and usually the furthest we go is right to the knuckle, right? This knuckle here. That's the furthest that we go. And so we're able to access the muscles we need that are kind of deep inside here, right? By going through the pelvis and through those pelvic muscles. And if you've had a baby, you're kind of used to kind of having to show everybody everything at that point. And so by the time you come to us as physical therapists, you just want to feel better. And if this is the way to get you to feel better, a lot of women just are like, okay, do what you got to do. But it's a lubricated gloved finger that goes in, like I said, just one finger. It's not multiple. You're not trying to, stretch things or assess things necessarily, but you'd be surprised at how many things can be addressed. I've helped people with hip pain by doing internal work with them, back pain, tailbones that can be dislocated during pregnancy, or a fall on the ground. So
what? So I'm gonna go do this too, because I thought it was more so for like, okay, if I have, peezing which I don't have too much of that, but like, I just thought that maybe it wasn't really for me because I didn't have the same issues. But now that you're saying that, I've always had some kind of like lower spinal, like coccyx, like down in that area. So I want to try this to see if like it's something that has to do with my pelvic floor.
All these things can cause you issues. All of those things can cause you problems. And so it's not just the back. And you've also got to remember that physical therapists that are trained as pelvic health specialists, they also have a background. We also have a background in orthopedics. And so even if it isn't something that needs an internal stuff, they can probably help you with a back or hip or other issue or spinal issue, or they'll refer you to a specialist that does that, and they won't waste your time.
So the main difference between a regular physical therapist and your line of field is just you're working on the pelvic area.
Right. And I've had to go through specialized training to be able to do this. So it's beyond my doctorate program. I had to get some specialized training to work on this section of the body. Just like someone who's going to do, like a surgeon is going to work on backs, or maybe a brain surgeon, right? You wouldn't want your brain surgeon during your hip replacement. So you be all specialized.
What made you want to specialize in this particular field?
I feel like moms are such an underserved population, and they kind of we do such a great job of taking care of pregnant women as they're getting ready to deliver their babies.
Yep.
And we have all this prenatal care and all this work to make sure that they're healthy. And then the baby is born, and then it's mama's over here, and all the focus is on the baby. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. I felt like I had a kindred spirit with all these women who are kind of like, shoved aside and my needs come last. And I really wanted to make sure women understand, no, that's not the case. In order for you to really care for your families and anyone else, you need to be able to be cared for as well. So that's kind
a
of
word, Dr. April. You out here doing the Lord's work. That's a word right there for my spirit. Okay. No, that's true. Because I mean, as moms, we always are like, okay, I have pain or whatever. Like, I'll just deal with it. It's fine. I got to take care of kids. I got to take care of my family. So it's so beautiful that you're like, I did this for you moms. Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to ask you. Yes, for sure. Okay, I have a friend and she had 2 kids. They were by C-section and she was like, haha, all you guys that had, vaginal births, like, you guys are going to have vaginal issues with the stretching and everything. C-section mamas don't have that. And I was like, that sucks. Like, I should have just got a C-section. But is that true?
Not at all. Not at all. In fact, there's a possibility that the people who have C-sections could have more issues. A 10-pound weight gain or loss, and think about the weight that is gained during having a pregnancy, but a 10-pound weight gain or loss on anybody can cause dysfunction to your pelvic floor. So their bodies, their pelvic floor muscles are still having to support that baby during their whole pregnancy, right? And then the doctor cuts into their tissue, and that tissue has to scar down and heal. And so sometimes there's issues with the scar. Sometimes there's issues with how the organs have been kind of pushed back into their body after the baby comes out. And there can be so many more issues that happen from that. Infections from scarring and all that stuff. So it sounds good. You think, oh, well, I'm not going to have that part stretched, but it really is, the whole bowl of it is stretched.
That's funny.
And then on the flip side, you also have the women who have, who pushed for a long period of time before they get to the C-section.
Oh yeah.
So they have kind of both things.
Oh, wow. I'm going to be like, ha, C-sections have issues too. That's what I'm
No, my doctor told me that the 2 women that performed those surgeries have both had scheduled C-sections. Just what do you mean? Because they want to avoid pushing out the baby.
I feel like that is so traumatic. Like, see, you're cutting into your body. Like, that's traumatic. At least for what, our bodies were made to push out a vagina, but for some reason or another, obviously, sometimes it's like, oh, the baby's been in there too long or whatever. We have to go ahead and give you a C-section. Like, I feel like that's that's the way it should go, as opposed to being like, you know what, C-section for me, unless you're like high risk.
Right. But they're the doctors that perform the vagina surgeries. And so instead of, that's what she told me. There's 2 female doctors that do it. And they both have had scheduled C-sections to avoid ever having to get that surgery, basically.
What? But not everybody, I feel like a lot of women, like what Dr. April, what you do, and I don't know, women have been having babies since the beginning of time, right? So I feel there's a way to heal us naturally, unless there's like extreme cases where, of course, you're like, you have to have surgery to fix things. I get that. But for the most part, we don't need all that.
Well, and you also have the women who are, 4'5", and then their husbands are 7 feet tall. And so the baby that comes out wouldn't necessarily fit out of her little pelvis. So that is a strange situation too. So
and stuff like that. But I think that I've seen a lot more women being like, it's just easier. Let me just get a C-section and then I can just heal up. And I'm like,
and it's not easier for sure.
It's not. It's not. And you can't hold your baby, right? Like right after it hurt, it's tough.
Right. It's traumatic.
Yeah, for sure.
I talked about this a little earlier. So with my first child, I just wanted to get back to working out. I was just like, get me out this house. I need to go do something. And so the first time I went running, I went 3 miles. I did it in like 32 minutes. I was just so pumped. I was so excited. I'm like, this baby, she didn't do nothing to me. I'm back. And then literally the next day I was going to the bathroom and I couldn't even get off the toilet. Like my legs, hips, everything completely went out. Um, and then I had to, my cousin who is really into fitness recommended I go do Pilates. And so the lady was so nice. She worked with me. She just like really helped me build up my hip muscles. But that was so traumatic, you know. And then when I had my second child, I haven't ran since. Like I do cycling, I do lifting, but I will not go running. I'm like so traumatized by that incident. I lost all feeling in my hips.
That's crazy.
Do you ever do you have clients, patients that you know you've seen for exercise relating issues that, because we just want to get back to looking good.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Especially the high intense athletes, they just, that's their passion. That's how they deal with stress. That's how what they do. That's their life. And most people want to get back to doing all those things. Yeah. We absolutely work with women. It's so funny. After you have a baby, you have a 6-week follow-up, I believe, with your provider, and they tell you, okay, you're clear to do whatever you want.
Yep.
That 6 weeks is just a general number. It's not,
Right.
It's just some kind of, you're not necessarily ready for those things, but you should gradually go into those activities.
Right.
I wouldn't recommend a 30-mile run right away. But yeah, there's always, I mean, your body is healing. You've just put it through a major trauma, if you think about it. And you had your body go through something for 10 months, and then all of a sudden the baby is gone, and your body, your uterus is going through involution. It's going through all of these things. You don't know which way is up. So absolutely, there are complications that come up when people dive in too fast to their activities.
I'm like, I know. And I think the most intriguing part of that story is she said she did 3 miles in like 30 minutes. I was like, I haven't even been able to do that. Never. Okay. Ever in my life. Pregnant, not pregnant.
So excited. It was like, and I noticed it too after this baby. You get this rush of like, I'm ready. I could do this. And you know it too. You feel it. You're just ready for everything. And then you just get a rude awakening that you're not.
And your body's like, no, we're not ready. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Hormones are a beautiful thing. They do some fun things to our bodies for sure.
Oh yes. Yes.
So what's, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
So what's next for you professionally? What do you have coming up?
Well, I actually am doing a new podcast that I'm going to be dropping. It's I know I'm following in your footsteps. It's called the Girl Power Happy Hour, where we talk about all of these things, and we talk about pelvic health, but also women's health. We talk about mental health, sexual health, a lot of stuff the taboo topics that nobody likes to talk about, that are uncomfortable for a lot of people. I just feel like we need to talk about them. And so it can kind of not be a taboo topic anymore. So.
Oh yes. You're our kind of girl, Dr. April. That's what I like to do.
Great.
That's awesome. Well, we'll definitely be on the lookout for that, because this is important. I mean, this is, I feel like on Mommy Needs a Break, Marisa and I kind of we book a lot of guests that we want to learn from. So I'm sure there's other moms who are like, wait, what? Pelvic health? Like, all I know is how to do a pelvic thrust. Outside of that, I don't know what else I need. Which is funny too, because as we were researching for this show, Dr. April, I kept going pelvic thrust. Ugh. I don't know why, but like,
oh my God,
and then I realized I didn't know where my pelvis was. I was like, it's just the hips, is it? Where is it? What is it? I don't know.
No, but it was very, very helpful.
Well, hopefully you know now.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
No, we do. And the Kegels, knowing that we're doing the Kegels right, that's like a big thing for me. Because I always just feel like, and I feel like people can see me doing it. Like, what is she?
Yeah, well, if they can, then you shouldn't, then you're not doing it right. Nobody should know that you're doing them.
Wait, my stomach is going in some, so that I'm not doing it right, huh? It's like, the stomach shouldn't be moving, right?
I feel like it's a whole dramatic move that I'm not doing correctly.
Right. I'll be looking at myself like, is anything moving? I think I'm doing it right.
Oh, I have this last question. How long does it take for you to heal doing the Kegels? Like, is this a long time frame? How many times should you do it? How long?
Right.
I get tired fast.
Sure. Yeah. And you want to kind of have a light at the end of the tunnel if you're going to be doing this stuff.
Right.
Again, it all depends on the issue that the woman is dealing with. It can be something that heals pretty quickly. As we get older, unfortunately, our tissues take longer to heal. And so there's that. If you're not hydrated, you know, you're going to have issues. So there's so many things that come into it. Generally speaking, about if you're not feeling great between 8 to 12 weeks after you've had your child and you haven't seen a pelvic health therapist, you really should. At that point in time, things should be kind of getting back to where they should be or where your new normal is going to be. And if they're not, or you're not happy with what that new normal is, then you should be talking to someone. And then after you talk to them, depending on the severity of it, then you've got to, you know, take a little bit of time to heal and give yourself some grace.
I know
so much.
I missed my appointment, but I'm gonna go reschedule now.
Good.
See how much I care about you. I was like, make sure we get Dr. April. She got to tell me where to go.
I'm gonna go now. Thank you. So we have one last segment. It's called I'm Fine. It's just a little inspiration. We like to leave you to remember you're fine, both mentally, physically, spiritually. Today, I just found a little affirmation. It says, by allowing myself to be happy, I inspire my family to be happy as well. And this month was my birthday month. And I literally have probably been gone every weekend, just doing whatever. I have one more event this weekend with my sister and friends in a hotel. I have no idea what we're going to do. But you know, I've had a few family members, I won't say who, is trying to make me feel guilty about this, but I'm like, I feel so happy this month. You know, I'm hoping my kids feel happy too, but it's just, I feel so much better finally, like taking care of myself this month, because I haven't had a birthday in 3 years because I've been pregnant. So I just really, when I saw that quote, I was like, you know what? I do not feel guilty. I'm going to go have fun this weekend with my sister, and my kids will be fine. And they will be happy because I'm happy when I get home, and I won't be miserable just sitting in the house looking at the walls. And
that's important. Take care of yourself. I think that's one thing we're trying to inspire ourselves to do. And other moms watching this, like, don't feel guilty for taking your break. We need it. We need that time to ourselves. Don't feel guilty for going to see a physical therapist. Don't feel, we need these things to make ourselves feel better, because I think when we feel better, our children, it like reflects on our children 100,000%.
For sure.
And the other thing I would just add to that is you're also teaching your children how to take care of themselves, right? Because you're showing how you're taking care of yourself. So if you're not able to kind of mirror that to them, then they'll never learn that. And so when they become moms someday or spouses someday, then they'll be able to appreciate that as well.
That hit my heart.
That's so
yes.
All right, you guys, we got to get out of here. It's been great taking a break with you. We hope that you'll take a break with us again next week, because we got some amazing guests on the show. You can follow Dr. April all over the internet. Where can they reach you? Your website, your Instagram, all that good stuff.
Sure. Destinationsphysicaltherapy.com is my website. I'm on Instagram. It's at destinations_PT. And then here in Idaho, and actually anywhere really, you can join our Idaho Women's Pelvic Health Group. It's a private group that I have. So you can join and ask safe questions. It's a safe spot for everybody to kind of chat about. So,
wait, is that on Facebook?
It's on Facebook. Yeah.
Oh, yay.
Ooh, pelvic health, ladies. I'm telling you, hit that up. Hit Dr. April up. Well, I'm Megan Thomas at Make Scoop Everywhere. You can also get exclusive footage and giveaways if you become a Patreon member. Just click the link in our description and become a patron.
Yay. And I'm Marisa. Follow me, and she is Marisa J. Follow Mommy Needs a Break at MNED Podcast everywhere. And make sure to go on our website at mnedpodcast.com. And we will see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.